When looking at real media magazines and comparing them to my magazines, I think it is possible to say that I successfully conform to the format codes and conventions. The way in which both I and real magazine front covers place the magazine company at the top of the page demonstrates how I have successfully conformed to the layout conventions of a magazine front cover. Furthermore, the way in which both my magazines and real media magazines include straplines down both sides of the magazine helps to show how I've successfully conformed to their layout codes and conventions of a magazine front cover. The way in which these straplines include information about the feature film and other films of the magazine is conventional, given that the front cover promotes not only the feature film but other films within the magazine. The way in which I have also used a midshot is another example of how my magazine conforms to the codes and conventions. As you can see from real media products, they also conventionally use a midshot in order to capture the protagonist on the front cover. A design choice that I made later on within the production stages of my magazine was to separate the image from the background, meaning that I could place the masthead in between the background and the subject. I did this in order to make the subject stand out, and meaning that the audience were drawn more to the subject of the magazine. However, when looking at real media products, I have also become aware of the fact that they do this too. This therefore means in doing this, I was not only able to make the subject stand out more, but I was also able to conform to the codes and conventions of a magazine front cover. I also included all the additional information that is vital to include within a magazine front cover, such as the barcode and date in which the magazine has been released. When looking at real media products, you are able to see that the way in which I placed and positioned this information was conventional for the format conventions of a magazine front cover, given that they had placed and hid the information in a way that would ensure the consumer's attention was initially drawn to the more important information on the magazine front cover. The final format convention which I am going to talk about is my use of the puff. I was able to successfully include a puff within my work to ensure that my magazine followed the format conventions of a magazine front cover. Puffs are normally round and circular, meaning that if you look at real media products, you are able to see that I was successfully able to conform to the format codes and conventions of a film magazine through the way in which I used a round puff with exciting information in. The manner in which I placed the puff on the right-hand side of the magazine also demonstrates how I was able to follow format codes and conventions, given that, as you can see from real media text, they also placed the puff at the right-hand side of the magazine. Now that I have thought and summarised the way in which my magazine conforms to format conventions, I am going to talk about genre conventions. As you can see, the way in which I have used a red, white, blue and black colour scheme conforms to the conventions of the thriller genre. From looking at other real media texts that promote the thriller genre, you are able to see that this is a common colour scheme that is used within the thriller genre, thus proving how I was able to conform to genre codes and conventions. I was able to add a red gradient filter over my subject, meaning that my subject was more red. This therefore meant I was able to conform to the conventional colours used within the thriller genre, not just through the colours used in my typeface, but the colours used within my images. I conform to the conventions of the thriller genre through using shadows on my images. This conforms to the conventions of the thriller genre given that shadows help to create a dark and tense atmosphere, which is conventional to the genre. As you can see from real media text, they also use this conventional shadow in order to promote the genre, thus proving how I was able to conform to codes and conventions of the thriller genre. Finally, I was able to use a shadow cloud effect over the background in order to make the background conform to the conventions of the thriller genre in a more suitable manner. As you can see, real media text also use this misted and uncleared background, helping to create a tense and eerie atmosphere. This therefore proves how I was able to conform to the codes and conventions of the thriller genre through my use of editing of the magazine front cover.